ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to beautiful Severny, the holiday retreat with, well, maybe a church you shouldn't want to take shelter in. I'm JoRoSaR, with me is Talha, and our observer is TheYungMyth. We are in to game number 4 of 4 in tonight's Auzom Premier League. We're in Lobby Red, and a lot of action has befallen us tonight. A number of the big teams haven't landed wins, and maybe a couple of the underdogs here have had their chance to shine today. Wouldn't you say so, Talha?
Definitely a lot of actions in all the 3 games we have seen so far, and I hope that the same continues into Game 4. Action-packed fighting, multiple teams fighting it out in the same position, pushing, aggressive behavior, aggressive plays, and yeah, Riddle Esports taking Game 1. Habu Gaming taking Game 2, thanks to a bit of circle luck and really good positioning. And Redzone taking Game 3, but the underdog of Game 3, I would say, would have been Tomshi, just hiding it out, getting
yes.
Action is coming up into 2nd place just for that play, helping to take out the team that keeps going to Pachinki, Outsider's team.
And here's the question we're going to be asking in game number 4, mate. Where is Kinguin? Where is AVANGAR? Where is G2? Where are G2 Esports? Where are we? Are we going to see GamersOrigin or Millennium take the top? There's these big name teams, and we haven't got a chicken dinner for them yet. If you had to pick one of them who might be able to redeem themselves and grab that win in game number 4, who do you reckon it's most likely to be?
You see, Jaro, the nature of PUBG is every single game is different. Every single game has its own story. Every single game is as random as the last one.
Oh, so, yeah, thanks for that.
I mean, it's really hard to tell because, you know, anything can happen. But in terms of just pure skill and how, you know, and favoritism on my part, I would
That's
like
what we want.
to say, coming off like a major win at a major, lots of majors there, AVANGAR have no excuse, but I can already see in the way that they're playing, you've got Onu that actually jumped out of the plane later than the rest of his team that are towards Yasnaya.
Sure.
But, you know, AVANGAR is up there right now. You know, they won a massive major. They're rolling in, you know, whatever money they want from that. They're happy, and they want to prove that they are people that can win consistently at this game.
Sure.
And right now, they still need to prove it. They haven't done well.
Fair, no, fair point.
My money is on them still.
Okay, I am going to hold out hope for Kinguin. I feel like there are 1 or 2 strategic decisions, or maybe tactical decisions later on in the games that, you know, the decision making may or may not have led them into situations where they die a little earlier than they would have liked to in these games, and are preventing them from getting that kind of like top 2, top 3 position. I think it's possible they change 1 or 2 small things, and they could end up, depending on what their team comms are like, in the top 3 of this particular game. And they've now got military base to themselves. So I agree with you. AVANGAR have a lot to follow up on after Katowice, but I would like to see Kinguin personally be up there in the mix as well. So we'll see. There are a couple of people in cars at the moment. One team is going up north to Severny, and absolutely no one is going to be there. So based on this plane path, a lot of the west side of the map, your Georgia Poles, etc. I was going to say are out of reach, but they're not going to be out of reach for long because, Jesus, that's about as... That is as west as the circle can get.
That is something out of a horror movie. That is, you just don't want to see that when you
look at this mini-map and you think the game is to stay out of the circle. You think that circle is the red zone. That's kind of what's happening right now. It's like, everyone out! This is... Oh, dear. If you're in Lepovka right now, what these guys must be thinking, Royal Banditos, they are not going to have fun making their way over there. They need to move fast. Remember what happened to them when they came in late, mate?
Oh, yeah. You want to... if you're the furthest away, you kind of want to be the first people in, driving straight past. But again, you're going to be driving past everyone else that will be driving. So less people shooting at you. I'm not that worried about Action is Coming, who are, again, playing the strategy of looting around Stalba, because they're simply going to make their way into the circle through the north side, probably go around Zaki and come in through North Georgopol. The only trouble they're going to get is when they need to cross that long bridge in Georgopol. So that is the only time that they will have to kind of maneuver their way around it. But already, AVANGAR making their way in.
Let's theory craft a little bit here, Talha. Because of the plane path, almost everyone will know, okay, no one really landed in Georgopol. It's quite likely that the majority of teams are going to be driving in. It's not a very central circle, and it's the opposite side of the map to the plane path. That means there could be a lot of people camping on the outside. So if you're in Milta right now, if you're in Lipovka, if you're in Stalba, you're not thinking to yourself, it's okay, I can be one of the last ones into the circle and tank it a little bit.
You can't.
Because there's so many people will be driving in that inevitably there'll be a lot of teams on the edge, right? So even just going to the edge, if you're the last one there, you're not guaranteed to be screwed, but that's a risk not worth taking, surely.
Look, you've got good stuff. I was just going to mention this. They know that. They know that no one's going to be here in Georgetown. They know no one's going to be in Crates. They know no one's going to be in hospital. They don't have any guns. They don't have any loot. They're going there straight away because they know it's free and they know that they can lock down and hold a compound for the rest of the team to come in. And you're absolutely right. If AVANGAR do what they're doing right now, they're already in the circle, but they're on the edge. They just need to get the rest of the team in, and they can hold that edge from anyone else coming in as well. Havu have an edge to themselves, but they have a better position because they can just get deeper into the circle and survive a lot longer. It's really hard to say. You either take a boat and take the risk of having to beach it and not have any cover on the beach and fight, or you take the risk of driving everyone in their separate cars and taking a couple of casualties along the way.
Not a fun choice to have to make, is it? I expect a lot of vehicles to be coming in here, but you're absolutely right. Like, there's no getting away from the risk of having those casualties getting taken along the way. And look, already we have Lumber Mill at the moment at a compound where someone might be considering stopping. They are indeed, and AVANGAR are right there! And Mumino is gone. He is just one person, unfortunately. And note the patience from Lumber Mill. Stay behind cover, wait for the car to stop, make sure they don't drive off, and that earns them a kill. Very valuable one, too.
That's going to damage AVANGAR already early on in this game. The first circle hasn't even closed in fully, but here we go. Everyone is trying to get into the circle as fast as possible. I think that's Millennium. They're just going to drive straight past. They know that they need to get on the further side as fast as possible because no one's going to be there and their backs will be completely clear. There is a crate that is just north of Havu, so if I don't really mind sees that, he knows that that might also be uncontested that they can go for. The only problem I have with this area is that it is just a lot of open land with a bit of deathblade that doesn't really have a lot of hard cover like trees or rocks or anything like that. So it's about winning those long range fights, long to medium range fights with your optics. Great.
Let's find out. It's going to be an AUG and a level 3 helmet with an adrenaline syringe to boot. So a nice little package there. And Team 13, by the way, do spot it. AVANGAR have the potential to go north. Oh my god! That's the second player knocked out from a vehicle there. And G2 are going to be able to finish off Keen. AVANGAR down to 2 players very early in this game. But I want to talk about Kinguin, who are coming in from the south. I want to talk about the guys who are in Lipovka and Milta, who are now making their way in. Let's see how many people end up at Gatka compounds and how many people end up near-ish quarry towards the edge of the circle. I think everyone is going to be rushing towards the western edge of the beach.
Havu is setting up an ambush. They have to shot at Bard. He does get taken down so long, but doesn't die to make it. Going to maneuver. That was really good play there by Havu. They knew that Kinguin were coming down this way. Vard is not looking good at all. Has to go into the water.
We were talking about Kinguin. They were coming up from the south. They had military base to themselves, but they didn't get in as early as some of the other teams, and it is now costing them dear. Vard in a tricky situation, to say the least. Gaxi and one other are going to be moving past where Larson just moved to. And this is slightly awkward driving. And by awkward driving, I mean excellent stunt driving coming out of Larson there, doing the full no-scope 360 in that UAZ, just showing off what a great driver, in addition to sharpshooter, he is.
He won't be able to get any shots onto Jorski and co as they drive past. He's not in the position to do that. Already, not a great start for AVANGAR in this game. They haven't had the best couple of games this week, and everyone trying to get into this circle, and they're gonna find boats. GamersOrigin,
hey,
they know they need to get boats.
Remember OPG, remember Janssen. AVANGAR can still come out of this intact with some excellent points on the board. Let's see if they're able to survive to that sort of late stage in the game. Millennium looking for a sneaky long-range kill there. Dignitas coming into the circle now. Oh man, OPG, Royal Banditos, they're still near Lipovka. They are miles away from getting in. So they're hoping all the fighting happens very early on by the looks of things. So we'll get to see what happens to those latecomers. It looks like they are, in fact, all congregating around those compounds in the beach over to the south side and the west side of the circle.
Everyone is like southwest, and you know, there is action is coming. Coming in from the north, and there's no one in the north to contest them. They cross the bridge quite easily. And Kinguin gonna go and get some revenge on Gaxi. Sorry, Gaxi's gonna get some revenge on Bikini Model.
I was looking for a second thinking Gaxi actually hopped out of that vehicle and sustained a bit of damage. And I thought, what on earth is the hurry here? But they managed to get the very quick reactions off and get the kills. The rest of the team, though, they're a little bit stuck, and they're taking a couple of shots. Elsewhere, we're looking at G2 and Millennium, having a little bit of a fight with Millennium inside those yellow houses. Kinguin are still 2-2 at the moment, remember.
That is completely true. AVANGAR have just found themselves a little hut that they're going to stand in and sit in and just wait, and it's going to be happening way further and deeper into the circle. I really don't know what to say about this whole area. It's clumping the teams up and giving them a smaller area to play in. You've only got four squares, 4 kilometers there to actually properly do anything in, and you still have 14 teams live. You've got 51 players.
Well, Dignitas and No Loot Gaming seem to be the only 2 teams at the moment who have put faith in the Gatka compounds. Everyone else is just going to the edge. And part of that is because when you have such good players in high-level play, the way the physics currently work in the game is that if you have the option to jump into water and prolong yourself, you might genuinely want to consider it. So maybe that ends up being a factor in these decisions. But it does, like you say, Talha, mean that everyone is very artificially clumped up right now. OPG.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no. And this is in the blue as well.
And he's going to get into a fight at such a disadvantage.
Awkwardness is awkward. I mean, Lundy, he's just... he's still alive. He's just bandaging up. Going up the stairs is smart, but unfortunately he has a friend looking out at him, trying to find the peak.
And he gets the heal.
Oh, no, he's got it! Very nice. Very, very nice there by OPG.
It doesn't matter about the heal. OPG sees through the grass. He's got that vision of a tiger.
What about everyone else, though? And look, and just in the blue, this is... when you run into a squad and it's just so long until you get into the circle, these kind of fights have both teams groaning, right? Because no matter who wins, they're so much less likely to lose as a result. It's so tough for them to get into a good point scoring position, but they've left it this long, so they only have themselves to blame for engineering this position, unfortunately.
That is completely the problem with fighting in the blue. It's fine if you've got a drop in the team and you wipe them out quickly, but the longer you stay in, the more you're going to be using your meds and you're damaging armor, and you don't have the time to loot up the houses and get fresh armor. You're basically putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. And both teams, in my opinion, don't come out on top. You know, if one team wins, they have to get into the circle, and most probably they're gonna die as they get into the circle. So they should need to call the truce, get in their vehicles, and go in the circle and get a better chance, and put this fight on pause. But meanwhile, in the circle, you have GamersOrigin making their way in on their boats. G2 clumping up in the little compound, trying to stop anyone from driving up that road. AVANGAR holding tight, sitting tight.
That's right. Back in the circle, everyone hogging the compounds, waiting to see where the next circle's going. In more or less centralized, you got a lot less water, so not really too much for the teams to do in terms of hopping out their compounds and moving into another. Maybe just Kinguin down south, but broadly speaking, most teams have stayed put. GamersOrigin look to be on a boat at the moment. I wonder if they ended up getting that crate that fell in the water. Can we go ahead and take a look at them? Or maybe take a look at either GamersOrigin or the crate and see if they ended up grabbing that loot. Looks like they're coming onto the beach right now. And I can't see a loot weapon there, can you?
No.
A loot weapon, a crate weapon. They're all looted weapons, obviously. Let's go ahead and check out the crate. All the way out here, but don't forget they were in a boat.
Where is the crate? Oh, good eyes.
M24 and a ghillie suit. Now that ghillie suit will not do much to disguise you in water, of course, unless you want to be one with seaweed at the bottom. So
to be honest, the M24 in this area is probably a really good move if they can get it.
If you can get it back without anyone noticing you, sure. But a lot of people are looking at the beach. Yeah, they've taken the boat. They've come back on land. They're not going to go back out again. They might swim, but I don't think they'll get back in the boat.
Kinguin have the drop on Team Redzone. Look at that. Redzone think they're absolutely fine because they've got the death blade that beach provides. But half of Kinguin just got the complete flank on them and it's going to force them to move into G2 and make themselves get exposed. Macadon having a good time, spinning out, going to go into the water, doesn't even make it into the water before going down to Stefan.
People are fighting for the kills. I wonder if Kinguin realize they're actually competing for the kills here and have to finish the down players quickly if they want those points. Well, Kinguin does get the kill onto Celis, so we'll see if they get Makan as well. It looks like yeah, it looks like they're not going to be contested for that. So that's 2 players from Redzone down, and like you say, Talha, the defilade is great, but that's only from one angle, and that's the risk you play when you're on the beach. You're always going to be weak from 2 angles.
It's not a lot of hard cover. Drainy's, unfortunately, hasn't been able to find himself a scope. He's been iron sighting this the whole time. He is the last one left on
man mode.
He is the last member of AVANGAR. He needs to hold this place on lockdown, but all those teams are clumped around that area. They're just holding tight. G2, Havu, AVANGAR, Kinguin, they need to make their way in. They're the furthest away from the center of the circle. Redzone, Big T, the last member remaining on that beach, slowly making his way in. Okay, that member of Kinguin did not die from sliding down that mountain, luckily. And it's gonna be Cloudtail and Thumbtouch making the way, as you can see in the bottom right. OPG, they're making their way into the circle now, a bit late, but I think they came out on top of that fight as Moleman is the last one remaining for Team 16. So that's good for them.
Squad 9 having a couple of shots off at them. Team Random, Moleman and Fake currently still in here. And Team Dignitas, who are very quiet, by the way, but spent a very long time in the center of the circle. They were one of the first teams to go in. Have a gap north compound there. And not too much action. Kinguin still continuing to push in. It looks like most of the action is centered in on the south side of the beach. Kinguin have done tremendously well so far, but they're going into an area where they're not just looking on the beach anymore. Suddenly they've got people to their 10 o'clock, to their 12 o'clock, to their 2 o'clock, and to their 3 o'clock. This is going to be a little bit of a slug, and they have to recognize that there are 2 or 3 teams around them, and they don't accidentally get into a 1v2 situation.
Yeah, they make it a little easier for themselves by securing that compound. They killed Drainy's for it. That is AVANGAR out now in last place, 14th place. So that is my money completely lost. They're not doing that well. But Gaxi, however, not making a move into the compound. He's just going to stay lying down behind some Desolate. But Havu Gaming slowly creeping up behind them. Probably has a drop on them. But the circle lands on Dig, on Havu, on G2. Action is coming, is actually making it their way into the circle. But look at this position. This radio tower hill that Dig
very close to Dignitas. Very, very close. Do they know Dignitas are there? I mean, if they didn't, they certainly do now, as Liquids manages to get a lot of damage done, but Zyphon will pick up the first down onto Kizis. It's difficult to push because the top of this little hill, a bit of defilade here, is actually quite flat, and the visibility isn't ideal. The frag going down where Kizis was, but isn't there at the moment. He's going to get taken down now as well. And Zyphon managing to get a second one. No! Pardon me. Millennium finishing off Kizis and stealing those points. Sneaky.
Tomshi, the last one remains. However, it's going to be GoShy who gets... Shy who gets Zyphon down. And now it's a 2 versus 3 situation for them. And they are pushing. They think the push was going to work, but they held off. And they're still holding off.
Great snipe on Tomshi. Great snipe.
And VCB showing the aggression. He knows there's one left. He just sees, and it's such an easy kill. And there we go. That is, action is coming, completely wiped out. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, I think we just saw Kinguin take down one of G2's members as well.
Ooh, we have crate time. Oh man, that is going to be delicious. So it's going to be Auzom time, ladies and gentlemen, down here. And the party is getting started for Kinguin, who are still doing reasonably well. You're watching 12 teams and 39 people duke it out in Game 4 of 4 here in the Auzom Premier League Week 5. And you're in the red lobby, action-packed, as we have a Western Circle for you guys in and around Gatka Beach. With still 12 teams vying for the victory and the chicken dinner in our final game of the evening.
No Loot Gaming, 3 members remaining up, just kind of tangoing with Millennium. They're both in circle. They don't need to peek themselves. They don't need to show themselves. But those kills would be quite nice. 3 versus 3. Millennium just hiding from them. Trying to see Damien getting any shots off onto Dig. Does tag up Cypher. Unsure if it's him tagging him or someone else. The damage is done. Team 14 actually got a nice position over Dignitas as well, but they have held their antenna hill.
Hang on 1 second. Royal Banditos. Oh, Kinguin getting shot at by G2, but Royal Banditos are coming up on the other side of Kinguin. If we take a look at the minimap, look, Royal Banditos in 3 vehicles coming up to the south side. They're going to be very, very close to Vard soon, and Cloudtail is about to spot him. Now, Kinguin have done a great job this game of sneaking up behind everyone and being one of the last people to enter the circle, but doing it from a different side. This could be problematic. Gaxi is down, Larson is low, and doesn't have the chance to revive Gaxi yet. But Vard might have several people coming in from behind him, and that is going to be a massive problem.
Jorski has been taken down, so it kind of evens the playing field there, but...
They must see him now. Come on, Vard's crossing the road.
Alright, Jorski does die. That's a confirmed kill there for Larson. Vard needs to make it across the road and help as fast as possible. They need to be able to get up there. Gaxi.
He made it. He's behind a wall. He made it. So I think he's been shot at, but he's definitely not been taken out. And yeah, teammate Royal Banditos. Vard knows he's got company now, so he's going to rejoin the rest of his team. That's a smart move from Kinguin. They are put in a tough position. They're not out of the woods yet, but this is the appropriate response. Look at that. Positioning the vehicle in such a way that he gives cover to Larson if Larson wants to run in. That's great.
Looking out for your teammates, but Larson has no idea he's being shot from behind as well. He might spot them. No, sorry. The information would have been given. He's got the AWM and the 8 times. He's going to try and see if he can get some easy picks here. OPG actually... I don't think Gaxi got revived there. Vard took a bit too long.
Oh no, after that play being so good and blocking with the vehicle as well. That's unfortunate. Molman, by the way, going down to the play zone in the meantime.
In fact, OPG had Angle looking into that shed that got the kill. So Havu just got robbed out of the kill there.
Unlucky.
Needs to hold their back. They need to stop Havu from pushing them. In fact, they won't, but it's going to be Suntut on a mad flank.
Drop the AWM.
Last and take him down.
Never mind. And Kinguin down to 1 player. So Vard, the player we were worried about initially, is the last person alive at the moment. But it really is Royal Banditos who came up behind them who kind of spoiled the party. They thought they were the ones at the southern edge of the circle. And they were for the longest time. But Banditos coming in and maybe kicking their game out on its knees. Which is a little bit unfortunate because I had Kinguin down to do really, really well this game. And to be fair, up to that point, I would argue that they had. But Banditos definitely getting the drop there.
I definitely will say that Kinguin have performed a lot better than, well, let's say AVANGAR. Siphon, they're gonna... Oh, Siphon's just gonna drive straight past, not caring at all. In fact, he should be taken down by a headshot by Trifelli. But it's gonna be Millennium who takes that kill. Trifelli's on... No, he's not. So it's gonna be Millennium who takes
Millennium,
that kill. What are they
Millennium
doing?
have been stealing everything.
They are stealing
with the
kills
timing. Yeah, they're doing a tremendous job at the moment. Fantasy. Oh, no, and they spot the long-range options against Dignitas, and only after he's down does Reese... No, Reese's not 100% sure where he's coming from right now, and that's probably going to cost him his life. Still taking a couple of Dignitas are in all sorts of trouble. Down to 2 at the moment. There is no way anyone's getting to Reese in the next 5 or 10 seconds, and I think because he's already low, that's going to mean he's dead.
It just needs to be there. There we go. Goodbye, Reese. Gets taken out of range by Fantasy.
Oh, poor Fedge. Last surviving member, and he has to solo a squad.
He can do this. I
mean,
believe.
he can. No, fair.
He's got so much cover in this area. The swamp is surprisingly amazing for this close quarters combat, which he's going to lose out to a long way. He's got the trees. He's got the walls, and also just the general atmosphere of the ambient... I don't know what the word is.
Unfortunately, he's also got the blue zone, so that's gonna present itself in a rather ugly way at the moment. And he's just slowly peaking, but he hasn't got the meds to sustain this indefinitely. He can hang around for quite a while, but he's got one med kit and 1 first aid, and the rest are bandages. So he's got like another minute's worth of stall before jigs up, basically. And I think Team 14 know it. Riddle Esports can just wait for the kill at this point.
What I was gonna say is that just from the amount of cluster that's on the screen in the swamp area, it is a lot harder to spot out your enemies. But he times it right, and he's going to start making his way in after healing up. He might be able to make it in and get the drop on behind, but they are going to be ready for someone to come up behind them. Cloudtail, however, finding a better spot to go in. They've got Havu Gaming right close to them, right on their side, but on the side of Havu Gaming, to the right side of them, Symphonize.
We are into the top 10 teams now. This is game 4 of the Auzom Premier League. Fedge, using his last first aid. He has a med kit, a first aid, and everything else on his body is now bandages, looking for a way to get out. Symphonize, though, getting the headshot. They knew he had to pop by every, well, eventually. And Fedge will go down. That's Team Random out of the running, and we are down to 9 teams. Ooh, beautiful frag!
Oh!
Trifelli, beautiful. On the downward arc, by the way. So he was throwing it above the window and having it land just the last couple of meters on the top floor of that compound. Trifelli doing an incredible job as Lumbermill to try and push this compound and take it from Team Millennium.
They're going to try and push now. They know they've got the advantage, but it's going to be Dig coming in from behind, stopping that push by Wookie Bookie. That is so interesting, and of course it's interesting, but it's so good for Millennium because it just stops their push actually working out. And this nade, it goes in.
God, every nade is superb right now. THZ probably counting his lucky stars that he didn't have his head completely blown off by that. These guys are tremendous with the nades, but they must be thinking, Dig, please leave us alone. We're trying to push into a compound here. That's just rude of you.
I actually see some sort of comedy in the nades being thrown at THC, considering he was complaining about the nades in his respective language in this team earlier, because he's throwing the first game.
It was an excellent nade that took him out before.
It was a beautiful nade, and it was just so uncalled for, and everyone would be angry. But now, as the remaining 22 people left try and make their way into the circle, you've got G2 bang slap in the middle. They've got a compound, they've got hard cover. They don't need to worry about anything. But it's going to be Trifelli and Kane that gets taken out first.
And yeah, Trifelli deciding that, okay, they've got a couple of downs. Those nades were good, but they're not going to dislodge Millennium. And as a result, we're going to drive off. Unfortunately, in the process of driving off, that carries risks into itself. And as a result, they are not going to be able to make it. Damien now moving in. Escaping the compound, trying to find some position in the circle. It's very open. A couple of big hills, but not too much defilade. THZ goes down. And Damien now has to shoulder the burden of that much more. He's the last surviving member, assuming he can't revive THZ here, and I think it's extremely risky for him to head after him. So he's effectively a one-player squad right now. Millennium not having the best of times. And we watch GamersOrigin as they get into this. So look at that. He needs to get to the right side of the hill. There isn't that much cover. It's not up and down non-stop like you would see in the Badlands, for example, Talha. You've got the one or two major sort of hills, and then after that, a lot of this is flat plain going all the way down to the beach.
Damien just got hit really hard by a sniper by, I think it was G2 if it came from that direction. But right behind him, oh my goodness, they've got the circle as well. Liquids in probably the best spot as a solo player that is left in your team. And same with Damien, they have the circle, and that... Mythos, can you just zoom in on the edge of that circle? Is that white touching the blue?
Oh, yes, it might actually be. Well, I mean, it's extremely close, yeah.
Wow, so, I haven't actually seen that before.
So it's possible that blue zone at that very edge will move like a centimeter. Yeah, Liquids is extremely happy, but you know who else are licking their lips right now, mate? Oh, hang on a second, a little bit of a fight on the beach there. So this is awkward. This is Team 7 and 8, by the way. This is Sun Touch versus Team Redzone. That's Big T. Both of them trying to find an excuse to get out of the water. And GamersOrigin saying both of you back where you came from. You're a dirty, dirty, dirty dolphin. We don't want to see you in this circle. And that's a problem, because in 15 seconds, the blue zone's going to gobble them both.
I feel really sorry for Big T, because he has actually been stuck on that beach for the majority of the game.
He's the Janssen of Game 4.
Yeah, he pretty much is. Like, he came with Team Redzone. They all got wrecked in their vehicles, and he was the only one to survive. But in fact, he survived longer than Kinguin, the people that killed his team. He survived longer than Havu Gaming, who was also there watching the beaches. Suntouch, however, is the last person to come to the beach. He was on the other side. He was more east, and he went straight through. Was like, I'm going to sit in the water for a bit. But Big T finally gets taken down. I cannot see him on the map anymore, but Suntouch is the last one remain.
So much fire going into the smoke. Literally on the beach where there's smoke, there's fire right now, and Suntouch is not looking forward to having to get up and move. But that's exactly what has to happen. He's got OPG as well to the south side, but both of them basically have to close in on G2. Not a fun place to be. So Dignitas and G2, the two teams to watch out for. Dignitas only one person, but with an excellent position inside the circle. And yeah, Suntouch tries to move, gets taken out very, very quickly.
That just leaves OPG, the last member of the team remaining. He is going to snake his way in without a ghillie suit, of course. I can't say all ghillied up. Symphonized. Not really looking harmonious, I must say. Okay, that wasn't funny.
I was looking for the button for the laugh track on the stream deck, but I didn't have that installed tonight, so I'm really sorry about that. I'll make sure that's there for next time. I promise.
Oh,
Why is it
ahead?
And yep, Steven saw ahead, and that is gone. OPG out of the equation. We are down to 4 teams, ladies and gents. This is the Auzom Premier League Red Lobby, and this is the final game. Millennium, Dignitas, keeping positions behind the hay bales in the field. Elsewhere, we have GamersOrigin. There are, I believe all 4 of them are still alive, and they are looking strong, but they have to go up against G2, who have the only compound left in the circle. So GamersOrigin and G2, Team 11 and 12, could be in for a head-to-head showdown with, of course, one of the solo players looking to be really annoying and snipe people off from afar.
GamersOrigin know that who is that over there? That Damien is actually over there. They saw him and they were shooting at him before. What they don't know is that Liquids is there. No one knows that Liquids is there right now. But if they just so happen to see Liquids out of just the corner of their eye, then they will probably think that they killed whoever was there, because they only think that one person is there.
Oh!
And they're going to rotate.
G2!
No.
Look at the next circle! I feel bad for Millennium. I feel bad for Dignitas, who fought all that way to get into these excellent positions, and basically what's happening is G2 are the fish, and everyone else is the food for this next circle.
They need GamersOrigin need to stop shooting at whoever's to their left. They need to stop shooting at Damien and Liquids, because that is their only chance of getting a good flank off to contest against G2. But
right.
They're going to go for the easy kills, right? They're not going to think of the long game. They're going to go for the easy kills. They know that there's one player out in the field by themselves. Liquids is in the perfect position to flank all the way around. Damien's going to start tanking the blue for a tiny bit. And there we go. You can hear Liquid. Liquid is actually shooting at G2, but Falcuma is stopping him from doing that.
Liquid's down. There goes Dignitas in 4th place. 3 left. Millennium still tanking. He had 4 first aids when we saw him last. He is non-stop healing right now. He might as well just start and do it again. He's not gonna... Okay, no, that's another first aid. Just for a second, I thought it was an adrenaline syringe, but of course, same animation.
He's actually trying to out-heal them and get second place. The circle does move really slowly, but does a lot more damage. He's running out of meds, and the clock is ticking for him. The clock is ticking for him. They need G2 need to win this, or Team 11, and they don't. So he still gets taken out on 3rd place. And now
G2 in pole position here. Still all 4 people alive, nice and healthy, managing to finish. It was always going to be the most likely outcome because they had to run towards the compound. G2 defending it like bosses, and to be fair, you have to be in it to win it, and they got to the compound early. They secured it, and they are going to reap the spoils as they win game number 4 of tonight's Auzom Premier League matches. Very good stuff coming out from them. In 2nd place, we have GamersOrigin, and in 3rd place, Millennium, who just outlasted Liquids from Team Dignitas, who were the 4th team to finish. So that wraps up all 4 of our games this evening.